Hi, I'm Barbara Bair. I'm a historian and curator in the Manuscript Division at the Library of Congress. I'm also the Exhibition Liaison for the Manuscript Division, and I'm happy to help you if you'd like to place exhibit loan requests. I can help facilitate that for you at the library, and I'm also available to help you with research. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about the Manuscript Division and how you come to do research at the library, or how you can use the Library of Congress website to do research from afar. The Manuscript Division is one of many special format divisions at the Library of Congress. We have almost 13,000 collections, almost 70 million items, and many collections having to do with indigenous resources. Those collections can vary from one item, like Winter Count by Baptiste Good and his son, High Hawk, or collections that have many thousands of items, like the new collection that we've recently processed of Virginia P. Matthews, who was one of the founders of the American Indian Library Association. When you're planning to do research at the library, the best place to start is at the Library of Congress main webpage, which is at www.loc.gov. If you scroll down on that page, you'll see this kind of changing current events at the top, but when you get down to the middle, you'll see these different tabs for library catalog, the digital collections, and researchers. Let's start with the researchers tab. When you click on that, you come to information for researchers page that's called Research and Reference Services. There's pretty much everything you need here to get started doing research. You can see at the top that there are descriptions of the main reading room, the business law library, local history and genealogy, newspapers and current periodicals, and science and technology reading rooms. Over on the right, you can see Getting Started, Frequently Asked Questions. There are research guides that are available online that are on special topics, and the hours of operation. The Ask a Librarian link is an important one because that's how you can contact us in any division of the library. But if you click on that, nothing happens. No, here we go. Ask a librarian. And you can see here that there are ways that you can go right to the Manuscript Division. There's a form that you can fill out, and that question that you ask will go right to one of our reference librarians. We have a wonderful reference staff in the Manuscript Division who are eager to help you. You can see over on the left that there are a number of special format collections at the library. We each have our own reading room. So one of the things to think about when you're planning research is that you may want to come to the Manuscript Division, but you might want to go to some of these other reading rooms too, because a lot of the collections are related. In other words, you might find diaries and journals and letters in the Manuscript Division, but you might want to go to Geography and Map to see maps about that same tribal community, or go to the American Folklife Center and listen to wax cylinder recordings from that community. So if we click on the Manuscript Division link, that brings us to the homepage for the Manuscript Division reading room. And again, there's a lot of information here that you can see in advance of coming for a trip. We're open 8:30 to 5, Mondays through Saturdays, no evenings. We're closed Sundays and federal holidays. You can see that notice that some collections are stored off-site, so it's important when you're planning to come to the reading room to give us a caller either by telephone or email. You can see here the Ask a Librarian link at the bottom of the page, and you can use that and say, I'm planning to come to the library in 2 weeks, and I'm planning to use these 3 collections. And just to make sure that everything that you need, if any boxes need to be ordered from off-site, everything will be there waiting for you when you arrive. This page also is helpful because it has various links on the left about using the collections. There is an alphabetical guide to all the finding aids, which are basically registers or descriptions of the content of collections. that are in the Manuscript Division. You can browse that. We also have links here to virtual exhibits that have some Indigenous resources content, and also lists of new online projects. Let's go back to the main reading page, the main Library of Congress portal page, and look again at those tabs that are in the middle of the page. So, digital collections, I'm not going to show you that today, but I'll just mention that the Library of Congress Manuscript Division is most known for its Americana collections. We have materials on Indigenous peoples of North America, both First Nation materials and United States. But we also are the home to the papers of 23 of the presidents of the United States. Starting with Herbert Hoover, the National Archives has presidential libraries, and they help to administer those. But earlier collections are at the library. And there was a priority for digitizing those presidential materials. And you might not think of those as sources for Indigenous resources, but they are. There's a lot of Native American content. For example, you can find Shawnee and Delaware information in the George Washington papers, or in the rather infamous Andrew Jackson papers. There's a lot of material on Cherokee Creek and Seminole culture, history, and sovereignty. So let's look at the library catalog. So whether you're coming to the library in person, or you're trying to do research from afar, and you want to communicate with reference librarians about what you want to do, this is a good place to start your research. So you see right on the top, we can do a very basic keyword search. And I recommend, you could do the tribal group names, like Lakota or Seminole, but I recommend starting big, like with an umbrella kind of term. And an example would be California Indians. So if we type that in and search, what we get, you'll see we get, here's 1 through 25 of over 3,000 results. And what we're getting is material from all throughout the library. So you see there's published books, a lot of published books at the top. So I want to show you a trick for how to find manuscript and primary materials in a search like this. If you see the sort box, it sorts automatically by relevance, but you can change that. So if you use this little drop-down menu and you go to date, oldest to newest, it resorts everything and it brings primary materials to the top. So let's see if that works. Let's try it again. There we go. So it's still showing a book at the top, but you see materials from the photographs, and here, this is the symbol for manuscript or mixed formats. And we see the P. Phillips family papers, the James Allen Hardy papers, and other manuscript collections that have the words California and Indians in it. There's a better way to narrow your search and to filter just to get the Manuscript Division results, and that's to go to the advanced search mode in the Library of Congress catalog. Here you can see that there are various ways to filter by keyword, by subject, by title, by author, but the most important thing to do is to go to this Add Limits, and you can either choose the location in the library and choose Manuscript Division, which I'm going to do now. Or you could also use use the type of material and limit it to manuscript and mixed formats. But we'll limit it to the Manuscript Division. And then again, I recommend starting large. So maybe I'm interested in language and linguistic sources having to do with Native Americans. So I'm going to put in North America and Indians. Oops, it's good if you spell it right. and ethnology. And then we go down to the bottom of the page and press search. And let's look at what the results are. Huh. That's not the result we wanted. It's because I spelled Indians wrong. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. So in these search results, you'll see the C. Hart Merriam papers as one major collection we have that has language and linguistic material, and also the Henry Rose Schoolcraft papers. So let's look at the C. Hart Merriam papers first. If we click on that result, it brings us to a catalog record. So the catalog record tells us basically the scope of the collection. There are 5,000 items in 71 containers and 10 microfilm reels. In this case, that's not the whole collection, only part of the collection is available on microfilm. And you can see that it's a description of the content, the subject matter, and sometimes when you look at the subject headings, that can give you ideas of other ways to search for similar kinds of related collections. You can see that it came as a gift and a bequest from the C. Hart Merriam papers, and that it's located in the Manuscript Division. Now you can go right from the catalog record to the finding aid for the collection. Here we can look at the contents list, and it lists everything in the collection by the box. In the Manuscript Division, we don't generally do item level cataloging. We do collection and box and folder level cataloging. So that's usually what you're going to see when you look. You can see that through box 17, reel 8, that things are on microfilm. You can order those reels of microfilm to use through interlibrary loan at any kind of public library that participates in the interlibrary loan system. Beginning with box 24, you can see there are lists of Indian vocabularies, and these go on for many boxes, and I'll just scroll slowly so that you can see who's represented. There are Native communities from across the country that are here, but primarily it is Pacific Coast, California Indians, Oregon, Nevada, and Utah. These collections have been very heavily used at the Library of Congress for language revitalization and cultural reclamation projects. We'll get down. You can see everybody that's represented. Then let's go back and we'll look at the Schoolcraft papers. Or another way to do it is by going to the search finding aids, and we can just look from there and just type in Henry Rose Schoolcraft. And search. There it comes up at the top. Again, we can click on that and go right into the finding aid. And my particular background, I'm very interested in women's history and in indigenous resources having to do with poetry and literature. And one of the wonderful content that is in the Henry Rose Schoolcraft papers is some papers for Jane Johnston Schoolcraft. So let's put in her name. As many of you probably already know, Jane Johnston Schoolcraft is credited as the first major Native American woman poet. We happen to be honoring Joy Harjo as the Poet Laureate of the United States at the ATALM conference where we're recording this video. and in some ways Jane Johnston Schoolcraft is her ancestor. So you can see in the results that there are in this collection, there are journals written by Jane, there are contributions to articles, and most importantly, in the poetry files, there's some wonderful draft examples of her poetry. I think that covers the idea of using the catalog records and the finding aids to find things, the importance of using advanced mode for research. And again, you can contact us through the Ask the Librarian system. You can also use the email mss@loc.gov that goes right to our reference librarians. Or you can email me directly. My email is bbai@loc.gov. And I can either help you myself or redirect your email to someone who can help you. We're really eager for you to come and use manuscript resources. Please keep in mind again that you might find related things in the Prints and Photographs Division, the Music Division, American Folklife Center, or at other federal agencies in Washington, D.C. So there are a lot of materials that we have represented in the personal papers and records of organizations that we have in the Manuscript Division. But at the National Archives, they have the official records of the federal government, which can be related to ours. We have collections of members of Congress that are their personal papers, and they would have official records related to that member of Congress in the Legislative Center at the National Archives. And also a lot of overlap with Schoolcraft and other involved in ethnology with the National Museum of the American Indian Archives and the Anthropological Archives at the National Museum of Natural History, which is part of the Smithsonian. So thanks very much, and we hope to see you and or to be able to help you from wherever you live by contacting us through our website.